Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You might be wondering why I'm standing up and not sitting down as usual. That is because today I'm doing something I haven't done in a really long time. I'm gonna film a little reading vlog. I'm gonna take you out to cafes and film myself wherever I will be reading. And the book I will be dedicating this reading vlog to is this beauty right here called The Beautiful Ones. Really fitting title, by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. She's the author of The Mexican Gothic, a book that I think a lot of people read I think 2 years ago or something like that. It was poppin'. I have not read that, but I'm starting this one right now. I mean, I have already started it, but I'm still in the second chapter, and so far what I can tell you about this book: a man named Hector is returning to his hometown after 10 years. And he is still violently in love with the woman he has been in love with back then, called Valerie, and he's looking for her at this ball, but she's not there. But whom she encounters instead is her husband's niece, because yes, apparently she has been married in between, but that doesn't stop our protagonist Hector to, well, still be in love with her. And now it seems as if he would be flirting with her niece to get to her, kind of. I think that's the vibe I'm getting right now. Plus, this book also deals with magical realism, aka both our protagonists so far, so Hector and Nina, that's the niece, they have telekinetic powers, aka they can move objects with the will of their mind and not just their hands and stuff. So that's not something I would usually be interested in, but I'm gonna be really honest with you. I picked this up for nothing but the cover. I saw this cover, I think only in the background of a booktube video I was watching. I was like, hell, I'ma get you, you're pretty. And here I am, I'm gonna give this a go. I fear this is not gonna be a horror novel. I would actually be more interested in a horror novel, such as the Mexican Gothic, than a romance book, but I think this is gonna be romance. It's gonna have these magical aspects of it, and let's see where this is gonna take us. So we're grabbing this, heading out to a cafe, and I will be taking this in this beautiful bag that my dear friend got me. This is from Dawn Books in London. It's a really famous bookstore. I went there myself a couple of weeks ago and I posted this picture on my Instagram. You can check it out, but this is so gorgeous, and my book is gonna fit in there perfectly, I'm sure. Boom. Fashion. So let's go. Friends, that was a lovely time. I will be honest though, I did not even read that much because I got distracted by my waffle, but I mean, priorities, right? It was covered in this cinnamon bun cream, which is divine. Absolutely love that. Plus, I ended up listening to a podcast, the latest episode of the SimplyPodlogical podcast. I listened to that a lot while I was living in Spain this summer, so now whenever I listen to them, I have to think of Sevilla, which is where I lived. That felt really nostalgic. I don't know. And now I'm heading back home. I think I'm gonna pick up some Korean food for dinner on my way. And then maybe at home I'm gonna read some more. Let's see. Okay guys, I'm back home. I got my food. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm gonna pick up the book anytime soon, because first I'm gonna eat this food. I'm simultaneously listening to the latest episode of another podcast, the Pretty Basic podcast. So this is my setup right now. I got the podcast right here. Shameless plug. Check out my latest video, my October wrap up. And here I got some bulgogi noodles with kimchi, and these are some Korean fried chicken wings.
Super passive aggressive, just lying through all the time. Like, yeah, just like last night. No context, no explanation.
Like, people would love it. People love it.
If Ashley had a podcast, that's what it would be like.
I mean, I want the drama. Is it me? Am I the drama? Well, I would, but some people love it.
They love that kind of shit.
Hey guys, it is now a couple of days later. It has been a while since I updated you last for two reasons. First of all, I am making a very slow progress in this book because I'm not really interested in the storyline per se. Plus, remember what I said just a couple of minutes ago about what I think was gonna happen after I read the first two pages? Well, that is pretty much the extent of what has happened so far. I am now about 40% through with the book, like part one has just ended. And what I said back then is pretty much everything that has happened so far. We have Henri, or Henry, and he has kind of like pretended to be interested in Nina, to be somewhat like in Valerie's vicinity. Maybe did he want revenge? Did he want to make her jealous? The reasons were plentiful, I would say. And he simultaneously kind of became Nina's teacher, training her telekinetic powers and such. But now, of course, in the end of the first part, truth came out, basically. And Nina learned that he's actually in love with Valerie. And now everything is lying in shambles. Nina, of course, is devastated, though. She's determined to get over him. And now it seems like she's putting all that anger and rage that she feels into her training, into the training of her telekinetic powers. Henry has now, like, left and is, like, staying with friends. It also seems like, even though I think like he still, I don't know, loves Valerie in this kind of, well, I will love her until the day I die kind of way, but she's like also really disappointed in her now and doesn't love her as he used to anymore. So I think like between them it's like also like finally over in that sense. But I'm really not quite sure what's gonna happen now. I fear, or like what I think is gonna happen in like the second part, I don't know how many parts there are, that maybe we're now gonna jump into the future, and maybe now at that point Nina is gonna be like, her powers, her telekinetic powers are gonna be just as well developed as Henry's, and they're gonna meet again as equals in that sense. And he's gonna fall in love with her this time, but she doesn't want him anymore because he broke her heart back then. I think something like that is gonna happen now. So let's see if I'm right again, but I fear there's not gonna be any other plot line except for these like love triangles and such. And to be honest, like, I'm not into romance in general, but if there is like romance in a book, that's fine, as long as there are like other things happening in it as well. But like books where it's like only about the relationships and there's no plot outside of it, such as like a good murder mystery, you're kind of losing me, because yeah, I'm not that interested in all the relationship stuff, I guess. So I will keep you updated. I'm sorry that it's taking me so long to finish this freaking book, but I'm also simultaneously listening to Jane Eyre for a class I'm taking at uni. So I'm working on both at the same time. But I want to finish this book now as well, because I want to read something else soon, because yeah, it's not really hitting the spot for me. I really should have read like Mexican Gothic by the same author. I think that would have been way more up my alley, but alas, here we go. So I will report back once I know a bit more about the plot. See ya. Hi friends, I have proceeded a couple of chapters into part 2 of the story. By the way, there are only 2 parts in the book. And the situation that's going on right now is that we're now a year later. So a couple of months have passed since everything went down in the first part. And Nina and Hector, they meet again in the city. And at first she's like all cold to him and tells him like to stay away. And he's like all sorry and wants her to forgive him. And well, but like after some time they start being in contact again, like friendly, but then she still has feelings for him, and he's now all like, oh, wait, am I maybe in love with her after all? Who would have thought that, right? And Valerie, over them being like in contact again and stuff, is like super jealous, of course, because like Hector is now like really through with Valerie. She's all jealous, plus she's plotting for Nina to marry somebody else for like money reasons basically. So there's this other dude like chopping in, creating confusion, creating even more jealousy, so on and so forth. So that's what's going on so far. I am now not quite yet 2/3 through. I'd say I am now really determined to finish this quickly because I don't want to spend even more time reading this book, to be honest. But yeah, I don't really expect a lot to happen. I mean, of course, we have all these like love triangles, or is it like a rectangle at this point? Because there are now 4 people involved. There's gonna be jealousy. And I suppose at the end of the day, Nina and Hector are gonna end up together. I suppose. Honestly, this book has in no way, shape, or form at any point piqued my interest, and I don't think anything's gonna happen that is gonna accomplish that, unless maybe someone gets killed, but I kind of don't see it happening, so let's continue. Guys, the moment has finally come. I have finally finished this book. Now, let's just say to like wrap this video up a bit. First of all, I was pretty much, like, not just pretty much, I was right in everything I predicted. That's number 1. Number 2, maybe don't be a fool like me and judge this book by its cover. Don't just pick it up because it has a beautiful cover, unless you're interested in those kind of storylines, aka just like love, triangles, rectangles, we talked about that, or like in general a lot of back and forth between lovers. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, I guess go for this book. If you're not, if you're like me, more into like plot-based books, this book might not be the one for you. It was beautifully written. It had like a lot of beautiful and vivid detail in it, but because I just couldn't get involved in the storyline, because I'm not interested in these like romance back and forth, this did not really hit the spot for me. But I mean, it's okay. In the very last couple of chapters, something came up, I'm not going to spoil it, that could have turned the entire thing around and could have made it more interesting to me. But remember how I said in that last clip that I personally would have wanted some bloodshed? Well, there was an opportunity for that to happen, but is this a spoiler? Well, maybe kind of, but like in the end, there was no bloodshed. No one died, and I would have written that end differently. I'll just say that. Something else that I thought was cool though is that in the very end of the book, there's some discussion questions about the contents of the book, etc., which I found cool. Like, I've never seen that in a book before. I like it. That was The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Yeah, I can only recommend it to you if you're into what I would consider boring love stories. Other than that, oh yeah, just one more thing I wanted to say. This book features a character that is the incarnation of female malignance that would basically make Lady Macbeth look like a lamb. There's like a really, really, really toxic, in all ways, shape or form, character in this. And there's a lot of this, like, as I just said, malignance between women, which is a very unfortunate thing. It is explained in here in some detail, but yeah, this one character, she really oozed poison from all of her pores. And that's basically everything I have to say about this book. If you're still interested in picking it up, that's on you. No, just kidding. Again, it was not a bad book. It was nicely written and stuff. Those are just like not my kind of stories, but hey, I gave it a shot anyway. but now I'm also quite happy to move on to the next read. Well, that's that. I thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.